Kraven the Hunter, the final film in the Sonyverse. Let's talk about it. Okay, so Kraven the Hunter is the final film in this villain Spider Venom verse, whatever you want to call it, that they are doing over in Sony. This is officially the last one. They are now no longer going forward with it, which is, I understand. Not all of them have been great. I mean, it's one of those things. But anyway, Kraven the Hunter, this was a movie I was actually excited for when they announced it, because I like the character Kraven in the comics. I do. And, you get Aaron Taylor Johnson to come in and play, who I think is fantastic. Should be the new James Bond, 100%. He's fantastic. And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Trailer came out, and I was like, you know what? There's a little bit of promise there. Then word started getting out about people that seen it saying it's not that great or anything like that. So my expectations dropped down, and I was kind of like, oh, is this going to be another Morbius situation, Madam Web stuff? It's not as bad as Madam Web. I'm telling you that now. It's not as bad as Madam Web. It's not as bad as Morbius. I think Morbius is way, way worse than this movie. It's not a good movie. I'll say that. Kraven is not a good movie. There is a lot of problems with this movie. Starting with the dialogue. The dialogue is not great. It is not great. When you hear him speak, you're like, ooh, that's a bit cheesy, a bit cringy, but okay. Can we not come up with better dialogue? And you know what? This is the frustrating thing with this type of movie, is it's from the studio Sony, who somehow cranked out arguably the two best Spider-Man films of all time recently in Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. I think Across the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie currently right now. They somehow pumped that thing out. That is just absolutely near perfection for a Spider-Man movie. And then you come over here, and they've pumped out Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter this year. And then you just look at the quality difference and you're like, how is that even possible? How does one studio do that? How do they do that? Don't know. But yeah, the dialogue is awful. The Rhino as a villain is just, he's so, I don't know what they were trying to do with it. It's like they were like, how do we make the Rhino feel like the Joker, where he's kind of unhinged and a bit quirky in that, but make it like really, really cheesy and corny and cringe, where to the point where I'm sitting there like, what is even this character? He's got no motivation. I don't understand what, like, his motivation is like the most simple, dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, where I sat there and I was like, really? So he's just mad because of this? And then when you find out the actual twist about like who set it all in motion, and you're kind of like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it didn't make any sense at all. And then tell me about it. How can we throw as many cameos of villains and stuff like that in Spider-Man, as many as we can, with zero story threads that make any sense at all? Well, Kraven the Hunter does that. They throw in characters where you're like, right, okay, that's what we're doing. Hey, we're just doing that. What was their purpose? Like, and I'm just sitting there like, why, Sony? Why are we doing this? Now, I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson was good as Kraven. But this is the big issue that I have with this type of movie. You're taking a villain, they've done this multiple times. You take villains of Spider-Man and you make their own movie. So you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I have to believe this villain, why he turned into a villain, and understand why he would fight Spider-Man. Why would he do that? This Kraven would not fight Spider-Man at all. This Kraven is a hero. He's not a villain. Yes. That's what they did. They took a villain and they turned him into a hero. Now, I reckon if you took the name Kraven out of this and just called it The Hunter and had no connections to Spider-Man whatsoever, I think we'd all look at this very differently, because we wouldn't be seeing a villain playing the hero. That's the issue, I think. And that's what happens with this movie, is at the end, the ending is very confusing, because it's like the whole entire movie he's a hero, and then come to the ending, it's kind of sort of like, so what now? Now he's a villain? Like, is this him turning into a villain? Why? It makes no sense. Why would he just this automatically just turns him to a villain? So that is a problem, and I think that's what a lot of people have an issue with this movie. And I think this is why the first Joker was so successful compared to the Sony movies, is because What DC did is they took a villain in Joker, gave him an origin story, made us understand the character and why he turned and transitioned into a villain, and why he became a villain. We sympathize with the journey to becoming the villain, but then once he becomes a villain, we understand why he is a villain, but ultimately we understand that he is a villain. Kraven the Hunter, the whole entire time you're like, this guy's a hero. He's not going to fight Spider-Man. If anything, I can see him teaming up with Spider-Man to fight people. That's the problem I think I have with here, is it's not really a villain. And that's what Kraven is. Kraven's a villain. And I think that's what they missed. I think that is what they have been missing in Morbius, what they have been missing in Kraven, in Madam Web, in in the Venom movies, is that they're taking these villains and they're not staying true to who the character are. The fact that they were trying to get a Sinister Six movie going by introducing all these characters, it was never going to work because none of them feel like they're going to ever go in there and become a Sinister Six at all. And I think that is the problem. They fundamentally didn't understand these characters, and I don't think they understood the Kraven character at all in this movie. I don't think they did. I think they tried to turn it into Kraven into a character that he is not, and it just did not work. The execution did not work. Some of the visual effects is just blatantly bad. It really is. It's really bad. You're sitting there and you're like, ugh, come on. That's really bad. That's green screen. That's CGI. I can see it. It's really, really bad. So that's another issue. The family dynamic was okay. I enjoyed a little bit of it here and there. I will say some of the kills were cool. Some of the action was great. I enjoyed all that stuff. But the rest of it, it's a big, big miss. And it's a shame. Because I really wanted this Kraven movie to it. I wanted Sony to turn the corner. As much, like, I enjoy the first Venom. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, it is what it is. It's fun. That's about it. The third Venom, I thought was one of the weaker ones. I really did, and the Venom's fun. Madam Web was awful. Morbius was awful. And I was really hoping Kraven the Hunter was going to take on a whole nother level of quality, and you're going to just deliver us something really, really good. And it's not that. It's not. And I understand why this verse is no longer going to be going on, and it just doesn't make sense. Because it's like, how you can go from Into the Spider-Verse to this is just beyond me. I don't know how they do it, but they do. So, Kraven the Hunter, for me, it's a big disappointment. Is it one of the worst movies of the year? It's definitely in the conversation for the top 10 worst movies of the year. Yeah, I would put it in that conversation. It has some things that I think people are going to enjoy. But outside of that, it's just kind of like, ugh. Sony, you didn't do it again. So, if you guys have seen it, let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe, and peace out.